Welcome back, dearies, to Sinfully Delicious. Christmas bells ringing around, the festive season is embellishing the world. How can you endure Christmas without a cake? Hence, I thought of including Christmas flavors like chocolate and raspberry into my cake. Are you thrilled to bake a super moist, uniquely flavored chocolate beetroot cake? Slathered generously with a slightly tart, creamy raspberry icing? Saying that, I'm going to treat you this festive season with two recipes, namely the chocolate beetroot cake along with the bonus recipe of simple raspberry icing. Come on viewers, let's buckle up to this exciting cake journey. As per the thumb rule of baking, keep all the wet and dry ingredients at room temperature. In a small bowl, using a balloon whisk, beat the 3 whole eggs for a minute till it forms a uniform mixture. Meanwhile, pressure cook the finely chopped beetroot with enough water for multiple whistles or till it's completely cooked. After it's pressure cooked, measure the beetroot cubes, which should weigh roughly 250 grams. For this, I use 2 medium-sized beetroots. Once it's cooled down, grind it as a smooth puree with 2 tablespoons of water. Now we are going to mix all the wet ingredients together. Take a wide bowl, transfer the beaten eggs, add vanilla essence and whisk thoroughly. To this, add any vegetable oil like sunflower, canola or olive oil. I suggest you to go with an extra 30 ml along with the 200 ml of the oil recommended here, because I felt my cake needed more liquid as the batter was slightly on the thicker side. This 230 ml of oil will thin the batter and help in getting a moister cake. To this mixture, finally add the ground beetroot puree, combined well with the balloon whisk. As I mentioned earlier, do not measure the beetroot before cooking, always measure after cooking it. Also, if the water has drained after cooking, while grinding the beetroot, add roughly 2 tablespoons of water to make a smooth puree. If the water is retained, well and good, then utilize it without wasting it. Your wet ingredients are ready. Keep it aside. Now let's move on to the dry ingredients. Take another wide bowl, place a sieve and sift self-raising flour, cocoa powder and baking powder through it. For a beginner baker, I would like to shed some light on self-raising flour. It's a pre-mixed flour that has raising or any leavening agent incorporated in it along with salt. It can be store-bought or homemade. To prepare 1 cup of homemade self-raising flour, mix 1 cup of all-purpose flour with 1.5 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon salt. To know more about this self-raising flour, check the website link of this recipe I have shared, where I have given enormous information about this flour. Finally, add the golden caster sugar and stir well to mix it with the sifted mixture. I suggest 2 substitutes for golden caster sugar. One is the regular caster sugar, another one is the demerara or turbinado sugar. But do not use brown sugar as it has a high moisture content and will not give the desired result. Now pour the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients and gently blend well with a spatula. Always before mixing the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. For preheating, always use toast mode in the oven, that is both top and the bottom rod have to be heated along with convection function, which means the fan should be on. While preheating, make sure the baking tray is there in the oven. Parallelly grease a 9-inch or 23 cm springform or any loose bottom cake pan with butter and place a wax paper or parchment paper to the base and rim of the pan. While mixing the wet and dry ingredients, I felt the batter was too thick. That's the reason I suggested early to increase the sunflower oil by 30 ml. This will give the batter the right consistency required and extra moisture to the cake. Transfer the cake batter into the greased lined cake pan. Then tap the pan a few times gently on the table to remove any air pockets in between the batter and make sure there are no gaps between the cake batter and the pan. While baking, place the pan on the baking tray, which is in the middle of the preheated oven. Most importantly, change the functional mode from toast to baking. That is, only the bottom part should be heated along with convection function. Bake it for 18 to 25 minutes, maintaining the same 180°C or 350°F. Timing may differ depending upon your oven's make. It shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. To level the cake on the top, use a spatula. Now bake the cake for the mentioned time and temperature in the preheated oven. While the cake is baking, prepare the raspberry icing, which will be the cherry on the cake. Especially the sharp, tart flavor of the raspberry icing excellently complements the rich chocolate flavor. For the icing, measure and keep all the ingredients ready. Take a wide bowl, add the softened butter to the bowl. The butter's texture should neither be hard nor melted. It should be softened. This can be attained by keeping the butter at room temperature for a while. To the softened butter, add the seedless raspberry jam. Whip it in a medium speed for a minute till the jam and the butter get mixed well. Try to get seedless raspberry jam from the stores. If not available, try with seedless mixed berry jam. If both the options are not available, then you need to go the extra mile of preparing your homemade jam in a few steps. Don't panic, I'll guide you the process of making homemade jam in a jiffy. Firstly, take required quantities of raspberries and sugar in equal amounts. Cook and mash it along with few teaspoons of lemon juice in a hot pan. Strain it through a steel sieve thoroughly by pressing with a spatula. Transfer this puree into the pan again and reduce it till it forms the transparent jam consistency. Hippie, it's as simple as that to make your homemade seedless raspberry jam. It's worth trying as it's economical too. Now add the powdered sifted sugar to the bowl and mix it with the beaten mixture without switching on the hand mixer. This prevents the sugar from flying as smoke. Now switch on the mixer and run at medium speed for a minute. You can make the powdered sugar by grinding the white sugar crystals into a fine powder and sift it to get rid of any lumps, or can buy store-bought icing or confectioner's sugar. Now scrape the sides and bottom with a spatula to check if any sugar is untouched or unmixed. Now whip it for another 60 to 90 seconds till it combines well to form thick and creamy frosting. Frosting can be prepared a day prior to the cake preparation. It can be refrigerated and stored for a week as well. The only challenge is the fat content in the frosting, which hardens while cooling. So don't forget to bring it back to room temperature before frosting the cake. It should be kept for a couple of hours at room temperature to soften it. After the given time, vigorously stir with a spatula or spoon to revert a smooth, soft and creamy texture. It's highly perfect now for frosting the cake. To add a tip, here I used salted butter. Alternatively, you can also choose unsalted butter. In that case, add a pinch of salt to balance the sweet and tart flavors in the frosting. Now your smooth, creamy, slightly tart raspberry icing is ready to be slathered generously on your rich chocolate beetroot cake. Meantime, your chocolate cake must have baked. To check it, insert a toothpick. If it comes clean or it's stuck with tiny crumbs, it's perfectly baked. Remove it from the oven and let it cool for a minimum of 30 minutes to 1 hour. After the given cooling time, release the lock in the springform pan and take out the disc. Remove the side parchment papers and also the base gently by sliding the knife to detach it completely. Place the cake on the turntable. Then using a cake leveler or slicer, cut the cake in the middle to make a layered cake. Cake leveler helps you out to make layer cakes more comfortably. It creates even straight cut cakes which provide a neat flat surface apt for icing and frosting. If you do not have a cake slicer, you can also use a large serrated knife. If you do not want to take the extra effort, you can keep this layering as an optional step. But believe me, it's worth trying, as the generously slathered raspberry icing adds an extra edge to the flavor of the cake. After keeping the top layer aside, generously scoop the raspberry icing onto the bottom layer. Once you spread the frosting generously onto your bottom layer, using an icing spatula, level it evenly. Now carefully place the top layer to the frosted bottom layer of the cake. And again scoop enough quantity of raspberry frosting to it. I prefer to give a naked cake finish to my cake, that is by applying the icing unevenly to see through the cake. Later, level the sides and top with an icing spatula to give a smooth finish. Once the icing is done, decorate with mixed berries of your choice to give a vibrant color to the cake. But keep in mind, if you are storing the cake at room temperature or in a refrigerator, remove the berries as the moisture content will rot the berries or turn them into moldy. So garnish the cake slices with berries only while serving. This will extend the life of the cake for a few more days. Shelf life of this cake can be extended to a week if it's stored in a refrigerator. Also, do not serve the cake immediately after you take it from the fridge. Icing will be added, so let the icing on the cake come to room temperature and get softened before serving. Your rich and moist chocolate beetroot cake, smothered with an amalgamation of tart and sweet flavored raspberry icing, is an exquisite delicacy. Every bite is so delectable, you will commit this sin frequently and merrily. Be a part of Sinfully Desilicious. It's the ultimate therapy for chocoholics to indulge in this outrageously moist and soft cake topped with silky, smooth, sweet and tart raspberry icing. For more such exciting festive recipes, visit my website Sinfully Desilicious. When I discovered cooking, I discovered myself. So can you.